and welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Update podcast. It is me, FoxyNoTail, but sad news, I'm afraid. Mr. SlackLizard is very, very much unwell. He's not very well at all. He's having a very bad time, so I've allowed him the day off to record this. Good news, though, I'm now joined by Miss Jessiie B instead. How are you doing, Jessiie?
I'm doing good, Foxy. I'm sad that Slack isn't feeling well, but happy to be here.
I'm so glad you could fill in at such late notice. It is very helpful of you. I was going to do it on my own, but then I got all nervous and I thought, I'll just ask Jessiie if she'll help. And you said yes, so thank you.
Yay. Well, of course. Thank you for asking.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Right, Jessiie, have you been up to anything in particular this week? What have you been doing?
Oh, Foxy, I have been all over the place. We moved Evie into her own room, so she no longer is sleeping in my room, but she's in the room next to me when I am recording.
Oh.
So it has been a little bit difficult. I haven't got any streams done. However, she is sleeping through the night, so I'll push streams off a little bit if that means I get a good night's sleep.
That's amazing. Sleeping through the night in her own room already. That's fantastic. That's got to be a big relief for you, hasn't it?
Yeah. Although, I think it's a mom thing or maybe even a parent thing. I'm a little bit sad.
Yeah, of course. Of course you're a bit sad. You'll be missing her like crazy, but it's for
so
the best.
Weird. Yeah, but I'm super happy and proud of her. She's not even 2 yet. And she's doing her own thing. And it has made it a lot easier for me to record later. So as soon as she falls asleep, I have been recording and I'm videos ahead, and it's been amazing.
That's really good news. That's great to hear. Oh, I bet you're over the moon. And she'll enjoy it as well, having a little bit of, not responsibility. What is it? Independence, I guess. I know she's only little, but
yeah,
they do, don't they? That's my room. I get to sleep in here. It'll be exciting.
Oh yeah, she's super excited. Anytime she has someone over, she goes and shows them her bed. It's kind of adorable.
Bless her. Oh dear. Anything else that you've been up to?
Yeah, lots of Minecraft.
Oh, okay. What have you been doing in Minecraft?
I have been working on my base, as you know, as my base neighbor. Mm-hmm. I have pretty much done the whole interior entrance of my base. So worked on the outside, terraformed it a little bit, connected my bridge to the nether, just pretty much have gotten the layout down. And It's given me so much inspiration. I'm so happy.
That's good. That's good. If you don't know, by the way, peeps, if you're not aware, Jessiie B is a member of Truly Bedrock, and we are neighbours this season. We are right next to each other. We will be going into a lot more detail on Jessiie later on when we ask her some really personal and, pointed questions. Find out what she's all about really deep down underneath it all. But before we get to any of that, what I've been doing this week, Jessiie, what haven't I been doing this week? I've been fighting with automatic storage systems, enjoying lots and lots of rail bugs, building a fun furnace array. I even started to decorate it all, make it look all nice. I got some inspiration from somebody that I'm a neighbour to in Truly Bedrock. I saw all of these amazing deep slate things down near a particular bone spawner farm and thought, I want some of that in my base. So I might have stolen a few of your ideas there. I made some songs. I've been making some crazy songs for Truly Bedrock and just for fun as well, which are now all on like Spotify and all that sort of good stuff, which is nice. And I've even cleared out my garage and filled a skip, which is good. So it's been a busy week, but I feel I've achieved quite a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, personal and Minecraft. I mean, you've been all over the place in Minecraft. I've caught your YouTube streams lately.
Yeah.
You've been busy.
I have. Although I feel like I'm not getting enough done. I feel like I'm still struggling to keep up with episodes. I sat down to finish off Friday's one today, and I just feel like I'm rushing all the time. So I think, I don't know, I need to get back into the habit of being a little bit more relaxed with it and not sort of stressing so much about what I'm doing. And I think the problem is when you're at the beginning of the series, everything's dead easy because you've got so much filler content because you've got nothing. So you're just going off exploring and you're dying and you're falling into stuff and you're seeing new things in the world, and that's all really. It's dead easy to just fill a video with that.
Oh, whereas absolutely.
When you've got everything, it's like, okay, I've got everything now, so I need to focus on building. And then that just takes ages, doesn't it? Whenever you're like, oh, I'm going to build a moss farm in today's video, 7 hours later, jeez, and it's, so yeah, it's hard to keep that sort of level of just nice, easy. I could make an episode in 2 hours. No, not anymore. It takes me 2 days. So,
yeah.
I'm trying to add filler, but not in a just to bulk out the episode way. I'm trying to find that fun stuff to do, that interaction that's not just, hey, no, I'm placing this block and then I'm going to do this, so it's tricky. How about you? How do you feel
struggle? No, you're absolutely right. I've gotten to the point in this season where I know we're still at the beginning, but you're right. There's not that, oh, okay, this is a new update, so I'm going to go jump in a cave. I'm going to die 10 times and everyone's going to love it because this is a new update. Now I'm like, okay, I have to get stuff done. I've been working on a storage system. I've been, trying to figure out details, and it feels very much like, how do I make this fun while still getting progress done? And I think that's the biggest thing for me is I want to do lots of progress, but I also don't want to be like, and now we have placed 1 million bricks.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
If I recorded for that furnace episode, I just edited that today, which is my episode 14. I recorded about 50 different clips for that. And if I'd have put them all together, there would have been about 3 hours long video. So I've cut so much of it out, but yet I've got to, from one end to the other, thinking, there's no fun in this. There is funny bits because I come along a load of bugs and I've edited it in a way to make it like, me just getting upset with minecarts and telling them off and all sorts of daft stuff like that. But there's no, I don't do anything else. I don't go off. There's no Big Chicken or Mr. Onion or anything like that. It's just what I'm doing. And that's just because it was a big job, and I think, well, maybe I should split that up into 2 videos and add more other stuff. But then it gets complicated because then you're trying to force content into a video rather than... it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I feel like we've come to this point where I think each of us has our rhythm, right? Like we know how to get something done and then move past it and then do something fun. So I feel like a lot of times we'll get into this rhythm of, okay, well, this is an episode where, yes, I did a lot of project. In the next episode, I'm going to go fight withers with Lee, Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you just make up for the fact that, well, this felt a little boring or this felt a little bit lackluster. And that's okay. I think we got to get out of that habit of trying to force something to be exciting and new and da-da-da-da. And it's like, okay, well, we have stuff to do. And I think there's nothing wrong with some downtime.
It's really weird because YouTube tells you and everything. I mean, I watch a lot of videos from YouTubers, how to make better videos, how to get more views and subscribers and more retention and all that sort of stuff. And it's all like, if your video's not 100% constantly engaging and interesting, then you're not doing yourself any favors. People are going to click off. They're not going to watch. And that's true to a certain extent. But at the same time, if you're making like SMP videos, people want to be on that journey with you. And there's a lot of people in there that will appreciate that grind time that you're putting in, which isn't particularly entertaining sometimes. It's not particularly, exciting, but it's, if you cut all of that out, then people complain, why are you cutting all that? Yeah. I want to see you place 1,000 blocks and smelt all of your glass into sand, or the other way around. You know what I mean? So it's a really difficult balancing act. When's enough, or how much can I cut out without getting too many complaints? And yeah, so that's interesting. It's difficult, but it's enjoyable. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you what else is enjoyable, Jessiie B. Leaving feedback on the podcast. It's really enjoyable. If you want to leave feedback, then you can email theminecraftupdatepod@gmail.com and put feedback in the subject line, or you can drop a note on mine or Slack's Discord, or even comment on the video if you're watching this podcast on YouTube. And we got a bit of feedback from the last podcast. Jeez, Jessiie, my words are escaping me. I'll go through them. So, do you want to read anything so Slack's not here?
Sure, I can read.
Excellent, because I can't. All right, you. I'll go for the first one. You go for the second one. Okay. So Windy Castle left a comment on the last video and says, Slack just works here? Then get me the manager. Anyway, I love the podcast. Interesting, funny, and relaxing. Keep it up. So thank you very much for that, Windy. I very much appreciate it. And Windy wrote another one.
I was just going to say, Windy also wrote about the name. That is like the only reason I don't use your email.
Yeah, so basically we had a discussion in the last podcast to say which name should we use when people email in? Because if you're emailing from a personal or your work email account, obviously it comes up quite often with your name in the email address or even attached to the email. I mean, email's clever these days because in the olden days, it just used to say whatever it was at gmail.com or at hotmail.com. But now it actually gives your name and then that. And then obviously people sign their emails with their Discord username or whatever, which is fine. But we don't see that until we read the bottom of the email. So this week I've made an effort to make sure that when I've copied any of the emails into the feedback or the questions documents, I haven't copied the email addresses in. I've only gone with the names that are in the footer. So I won't be giving away anybody's like real names unless that's the name they've put in the footer. So there you go. You're welcome.
Well, that's thoughtful.
Yeah, well, I am very thoughtful, Jessiie. You know me. Thoughtful no-tail. I think that's what they call me, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Right, Rusty Shackelford is back again with another piece of feedback saying, if both were... Oh, Jesus. I mean... if both versions work the same, then yes, one is redundant and pointless. This is talking about whether Minecraft Java Edition and Bedrock should have parity, I think. The fact that they demoted Java to edition status and elevated Bedrock means that they see Bedrock as the correct version, even if we do reach full parity, which isn't possible. They would just chop Java off and let Bedrock be the main version. Having them different is what keeps Java around, in my opinion. The problem I would have is with... The problem I would have with this is touch controls. Sorry, mobile users often hold back what can be added and how it works. Look at shields. Java uses the right click and Bedrock uses crouch or shift. Why does Bedrock use crouch? Because mobile users, and to my knowledge, there's no way to remap this. I would imagine it stems from the lack of proper offhand support because, once again, mobile controls are either hard to come up with, controls that aren't clunky in a way that just won't work in general because oh my goodness me. Okay, I'm going to cut this one short, Rusty, because there's another 3 paragraphs here. But basically, Rusty is saying that Bedrock Edition can't catch up with Java Edition because of touch controls, which I do agree with. And I had an argument on Twitter with people not too long ago to say, I think it's okay for certain control systems to not have access to certain features. Just like on keyboard and mouse, we don't have access to like holding down crouch like you do on a controller or you do on touchscreen, and vice versa. So I think they should add the parity controls into the keyboard and mouse edition that's on Java Edition. And if you are playing on touch or with a controller, then yeah, fine. Okay, you're going to be limited to what you can do, but you're still playing Minecraft. And if you really want to do it, every single device now allows you to use wireless mice or even gamepad. So there's no reason you couldn't play with a touchscreen on a PC or a gamepad on a PC or a gamepad on a touchscreen. And so I don't think there's any real reasonable argument anymore that, it has to be limited because of that. But I think the developers just don't want to alienate certain people or make anyone feel more important. What do you think?
I agree. It's something that's always bothered me when it comes to Bedrock Edition is that so much is, I don't even want to say catered to mobile users, but everything has to be figured out, including them. And it really holds back Bedrock Edition for no reason, because a lot of Bedrock users, we do have access to keyboard and mouse. It just makes sense to be able to use things like the offhand. I get it. I know that there are hard things to figure out, but it just seems like it's really silly to not include us for one specific form of user, if that makes sense. Like it seems it is one of those things that annoys me. I will admit it. It's one of the things that makes me go back to Java very often. Like I play Java all the time because I do really enjoy things I can do with the offhand. I just find the gameplay more enjoyable. But it doesn't keep me from playing Bedrock. So it is annoying though. I will very much agree with that.
Yeah, there is the argument from the other side of this. Like if we were just touchscreen only users and moaning about the fact that they keep adding things into the game that we can't use, we could quite easily turn around to the people that have keyboard and mouse and say, well, why don't you just play Java Edition? Which is a perfectly valid argument. And like you just said, you can and often do, and I can and often do as well. But I prefer Bedrock Edition because that's the platform that I connect with most people on. So
yeah.
It's but we are really the rare use case here. The most players that are playing Bedrock Edition probably are younger people playing on touchscreens. Whereas, I bet if you looked at percentages of who's on what device, people with keyboard and mouse playing Bedrock Edition is probably like less than 10% of the entire user base. So it's a tricky one.
That's a good point. That's something that I don't think us PC players think about is the fact that there are probably a substantial amount of the Bedrock community that do not play on keyboard and mouse. And I mean, even when you said that, it like kind of hit me like, oof, now I feel a little
elitist.
I feel a little bit like a jerk. And that doesn't feel great. So
no, exactly. And I think a lot of the times I'm exactly the same. And I say exactly the same thing. I think a lot of the times it's so easy to see things from our own perspective without jumping on and, looking at it from the other way around. And the only reason I think about it sometimes from the other way around is I watch Oliver with the iPad, and it amazes me how he can play Minecraft so quickly and flawlessly with this iPad that's covered in snot and cereal and bits of anything that's been stuck to his hands. It's disgusting, but yet he can do everything with it. And he passes it to me and like, oh, Dad, can you help me with this redstone? And I press the screen and destroy all of his blocks and like, oh, don't give it to me. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So I got to give touch control people credit for their dexterity, if nothing else, and their perseverance. But certainly not a control system I would want to play with. Jeez.
Agreed.
Okay, moving on to the next one, Jessie.
Athena V said, Slack, why are you yelling at me? I feel like Slack should have asked this question many, many TB seasons ago. I enjoy the podcast so much. Again, the community is blessed to have this. GG, Foxy and Slack.
Thank you very much, Athena. I will pass on this comment to Slack and let him know. I'm sure that will help make him feel a little bit better while he's feeling so rough. Athena then also says, RE feeling like you can't play without creating because it's not furthering your channel. To that, I say, have you ever heard of the term workaholism? Workaholism?
Workaholism.
I've heard of being a workaholic, but it sounds like alcoholism, the other one. Workaholism. To be fair, I understand though, she says. I have, but I don't think it's being a workaholic. It's just a really strange mindset where, well, like me and Jessie spoke about very, very briefly at the beginning of this, I always feel like I'm playing catch up rather than being ahead. When I'm ahead, I don't mind, taking time out to watch some TV or play other games because you feel relaxed. But I always feel like I'm behind, and that's because there's no catch up with YouTube. The second you take your finger off the button, it's gone a week, and all of a sudden you haven't got any videos out, and the next one you put out is not doing ever so well. So it's really tricky to keep up with it.
Yeah.
And anything can get in the way. I was ahead until Christmas came along. I knew Christmas would come in, so I pre-recorded lots of videos, but then it just turned out I had to have Oliver for an extra week with me because his mum was really ill. So, that put me really out of whack, and that's just life. That's just how it is, so it's tricky. So maybe it is workaholism a little bit, but it's also just the system that we're in a part of it just drives you that way.
Absolutely. It's really hard when you are trying to do this full time, especially, right? I think it's a little bit different when you have a variety of people who are content creators. You have people who do it full time, you have people who do it part time, and then you have people who just do it for fun. And I think the people who do it for fun, this probably doesn't pertain to them as much. They can play whenever they want, and go as they please, and it's really fine. Yeah. And then when you aren't doing this like for fun and you're really trying to get somewhere with it, it's hard. It's really hard to justify, okay, well, I'm just going to play a little bit for no reason, when you're just like, man, this could be used for video, or this time could be used for prepping for a video, or,
Yeah, exactly.
It very much is hard to justify relaxing when you don't have that 9-to-5 job, because content creating is 24/7.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say, well, it shouldn't be, but that's not how it works. If you don't have a 9-to-5 job, your 9-to-5 is whenever you have time. If that makes sense.
It's no different from if 9-to-5 jobs are great, but you're working for somebody else and you're expecting a paycheck regardless of how well you performed at work that week. When you're running any business on your own, or when you're working for yourself, it's never 9-to-5. That is constantly with you. You're always thinking about, where am I going to get my next paycheck from? Yep. Am I going to get another job in time this month? Do I have to think about taking a week off to do my taxes and all of the other things that you need to do? It's constantly on your brain. And content creation is the same thing, because you're working for yourself. No one's giving you a paycheck. No one's saying, hey, don't worry about being off sick, you'll still get paid.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. So there's always a pressure there to perform. And I think the worst part is not necessarily even financial. It's just that when you see your channel growing and you see that it's doing well and it's going well, and you take your finger off the button for a minute and it just drops. Sometimes it's just purely coincidental, but it's devastating. Yeah. And it's so hard to get it back again. It's so hard to get back up on that trend again. And it's... So yeah, it is ingrained into you from like early on of content creation. You need to just keep doing it. So I think that's what it comes down to. Fear rather than workaholism.
I agreed.
What's Miss got to say?
Meh, ha ha ha.
I think it's meh, actually. I think that's how you pronounce that one.
See? It absolutely was a joke in reference to the last podcast. Keep saying it, but really loving these podcasts. They're so great to listen to and so much fun. Agreed, Mitz.
You're so much better at reading these than me and Slack. Okay. Well.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Like break for a second. It's because I did the rundown.
Oh, of course.
So I had to get into the read and project. So this comes straight back to that.
But I've been reading comments and feedback for forever in live streams and things, and I still can't do it. So, the rundown, no offense, I loved it while it was on, but it only lasted 5 minutes. I've been doing this years. If you don't know what the rundown is, the rundown was it was Jessiie B and a couple of other creators doing basically a recap of Truly Bedrock every week, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved that, and I was really sad when it went away. I actually tried to revive it myself for a few weeks and found it way too much like hard work, so I just put a whole lot in the bin. But yeah, okay. Right. I mean, Windy Castle's back again. They've got 2 more. Jeez, Windy Castle. As far as YouTube clips go, they're useless. Clips of streams collect the best moments, and videos are all the best moments together in a video. You would need to clip the whole video. At that point, just send the link of the video, maybe with a timestamp. Good point. That's a good point. Yeah. YouTube clips are completely useless.
I've never seen them or looked into them or cared about them. So I don't know anything about them, actually.
No, I think the idea originally for YouTube, or maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think they were like, okay, we've got this short system now. Wouldn't it be great if we had a way to turn fun bits out of people's videos into shorts? But rather than coming up with a way for the creator of the video to do that, they've just gone, hey, anyone else can make a short out of someone else's video. So I think it would be better if it was just like, hey, I recommend this clip. So, like if someone clips your channel on Twitch, it goes into your clipped stuff and you can see the clips that people have made, and you can choose whether to publish that. You can choose whether to download it and share it and all that sort of fun stuff. YouTube don't do that. They don't even tell you've been clipped. So it'd be great if there was a clips thing and you could go, oh yeah, turn that into a short. And then you've got people working on your side then. Your viewers are like, hey, I found this bit funny. I'll clip it for FoxyNoTail. He can make a short out of it. But it's not. It's like, hey, I found that bit funny. I'm going to steal it. It's mine.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Windy also says, I'm a late teenager, really enjoying this.
Yeah, we spoke about the demographic, the age range that this podcast goes out to, and we just assumed it was probably like 30s onwards. We don't know, we've no idea. So that's nice to know that a late teenager is really enjoying this. You should be on time though, Windy. I'm just going to put that out there. If you keep being late, you're going to get in trouble. So try and be an on-time teenager next week, please. Rob Pontin says, I'm an expert level 99 at confusing people. Good podcast, guys. On the lag thing, it's simple. Don't invite Prowl, then you'll be lag free. On the golden era question you had, the game always gets better with every update. Okay, good. I probably won't be putting that one in, but thanks. Jeez. Moving on to the emails, Jessie. Do we get any feedback in the emails? Jeez.
We did. Wooed in the old. I am not up to date with the podcast, so sorry if this has been mentioned, but had an idea regarding the content creators reusing designs. Wouldn't it be a good idea for YouTube to have like a hosting video feature? Say a big YouTuber sees a good idea and could pin this video to his homepage so he could promote your idea he likes and you both get the views. Just a thought. Love the podcast and your banter.
That is an amazing idea. I really like that idea. That's fantastic. If you could pin somebody else's video to your channel so that they're still getting the views, they're still getting the subscribers, but you can say, hey, I like this video. I think it's great. What do you think, Jess?
So the part that's interesting would be you would both get the views. So that it would be very complicated, I'd imagine, to figure out how that would
get
work.
The views? Oh, I didn't read that. I was sold by the idea before we got to that. No, I think the person that made the video should get the views, not the other person.
That's what I would think too. Like, I love the idea as that being a medium, because obviously you can't stop someone from using your video idea. You can't. No. Like, as much as I wish people wouldn't steal other people's ideas, there's no repercussions. There's nothing that's going to happen unless they literally take your video and just re-upload it, I guess, would be the only way you could get it taken down. But just taking your idea and running with it, as awful and scummy as it is, nothing you can do about it. So the idea that they could instead like insert your video and be like, hey, look, this is what I got my idea from, is amazing. If like it could have a direct link to your channel when they do it, great, brilliant. I think people are too lazy and it would never work. Yeah,
because you could already put that in the descriptions and you could put that in the iCards, to be fair, but people don't do it. It's not an easy thing to do though. To be perfectly honest with you, YouTube don't make it easy to link to other people's stuff. Maybe if they made it a bit easier, more people would do it, but probably not. In terms of both getting the views, coming back to that, if that was the case, then all anybody would ever do would just have their channel link into absolutely all of the, like, just PewDiePie's videos. You know, you just not the biggest YouTuber you could find, just link to all of their videos, and then all of a sudden you're getting millions of views. I just don't think that's a good idea. But the other thing that makes me think about, I don't know if you remember, Jessie, but back in the day, YouTube used to have annotations on their videos.
Oh, yeah.
That they phased out. That was kind of cool. That's kind of like the iCards is now, but that allowed you to specifically like host or share other content inside of your video that was meant sort of minorly interactive. It was a bit messy, but you could do similar sorts of things with that. The iCards is sort of a bad version of that, really, or a more streamlined version of that, I guess. But there was I think
also the. Do you remember like the video responses? I don't know if you were on YouTube at that point, but there was like you could reply to somebody's video and like so like your video would be below theirs. That was big for quite a while.
I never saw any of those. I don't think I was very into watching YouTube at that time, but I was aware of it, and it just struck me as bizarre why anyone would do that. But then TikTok came along and kind of took the crown for that, didn't they? I mean, that's what got TikTok famous, was people replying to other people's TikToks. So I guess the idea was right, but the
implementation was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, Deruza says, hey guys, another fantastic podcast. Maybe an idea to avoid confusion for when feedback has arrived. Ask people to put the episode number they're giving feedback on the subject line of the email or at the start of the comment on YouTube or Discord. For example, feedback episode 5 would be feedback that people had about episode 5 for you to read on episode 6. Feedback on my feedback from last week about episode 4 that got read in episode 5. It's good feedback. Good luck getting that right first time. I like having an excuse to slow down and relax a little. For instance, I'm currently sitting here placing blocks on Foxy's Patreon server. Plug for you there. Thanks very much, Teresa. Listening to you guys. Doing this also allows me to write feedback as I come across bits I want to make smart comments about. Also, just a general comment about you two on outside the podcast. I really enjoy the communities you have built and maintained. I really appreciate the family-friendly content that you both produce consistently, even if I get weird looks from my wife while I'm watching Foxy's streams. I think everyone probably gets weird looks when they watch my streams, to be perfectly honest with you, if other people can hear them. I would buy headphones, Derusa. Oh, jeez. Right, okay. I would say asking people to put episode numbers in the feedback would be great, but that's the more we ask other people to do, the more jobs we give them, the less feedback we're probably going to get. So what I do is I just go and I go, okay, is this feedback time-stamped later than the last episode came out? Like the last episode came out on the 11th, for instance. I don't think it was. I can't remember what date it was. So I will look for emails from the 12th onwards. Whereas when Slack did it last week, because I got sidetracked, he just pulled out all the emails. So yeah, not Slack's fault, but he just does. I asked him to put the emails in the feedback thing, and he did. So, any thoughts on optimizing that, Jessie?
I think the way you guys are doing it is great. I think you're right. Asking people to be as specific as possible is great. Like, sure. But in general, just as a general statement, people are lazy. They're going to do like the most simple thing. So if they have something to say, they're going to say it. And I feel like you don't want to detour them.
Yeah, just to clarify there, though, Jessie, you're not calling everybody that listens to this podcast lazy. Jessie's just generalizing that everybody in the world, including us, is lazy. I've said this so many times. Human beings have spent their entire existence developing technologies and systems to make their lives easier because we are, as a species, lazy. So Jessie's not pointing fingers and going, hey, you lazy person, put the blooming episode number in the feedback title. No. She's just saying that as a race, we are all lazy, which we are. Some more than others, me particularly. Carry on, Jessie. Sorry.
No, that was all. Yeah. Sorry. Now you've got me like, oh no, people are gonna think I'm so mean.
Being the evil Jessie coming out in the podcast.
It's awful.
Jeez.
Well, I will move on to Pirate Danny, who says, I really enjoy the podcast, guys. As a podcast and not a video, it's on autoplay when my phone connects to the car. Although it was odd when an episode audio played, Slack wasn't there and Foxy was talking about 1.17 things. I realized that I had caught up with the start of the show. I did listen, Foxy, and it was actually a really good retrospective listen. Thank you. Pirate Danny enjoys listening to the podcast while driving to work.
Well, thank you, Pirate Danny. That's ace, and I'm glad that you managed to catch some of the older ones I did a long time ago. I thought they were all right. I was probably a little bit more mean about Mojang and the developers back then when I didn't really understand it all so much. So if you were into me ranting about that sort of stuff, then go back and have a listen. But I think these new ones are certainly more fair to people, and I think they're more interesting as well, having other people to talk to and bounce off of. One thing I am going to just point out from that one, though, Jessie, and I don't know if this grinds your gears, but the Pirate Danny's just said that it's on autoplay when their phone connects to the car. I just wish my phone would not start playing some random stuff when I plug it into the car. It drives me insane. So I've got it all set to do not autoplay when I get in the car. But yeah, it'll be random. Sometimes it'll be Spotify will come on. Sometimes it'll be a podcast I was listening to 3 months ago. Sometimes it'll be Apple Music. Sometimes it'll be VLC like player that I was playing a song to Oliver in the house. And it drives me nuts. Why does it do it? It's so annoying. I've spoken to Honda about it and like, oh no, it's your phone. I spoke to like Google about it. It's like, no, it's Honda. Oh man, get it sorted. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, it always, every single time goes to my Apple Music. And I don't think I have opened Apple Music in years at this point. So I have no idea why. It's not the last music thing I've opened. I listen to Spotify regularly, but it does not autoplay. And so I'm like, oh, yes, with my 2-year-old in the car, the songs that are coming on is not great. I'm like, okay, Apple Music. I'm just going to have to delete everything so it stops.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's bizarre why auto companies or even phone companies think that we just instantly want to listen to music the second we get in the car. It's such an old-fashioned thing because obviously, everyone used to have the radio in the car all the time. So you get in the car, the radio would still be on because it was on last time you got in. I personally don't like having anything on in the car until I'm ready. You know, I get in the car, I'm thinking about where I'm going, what I'm doing. Most of the time, I'll just sit there in complete silence the whole journey because that's my thinking time. But sometimes I'll finish thinking and I go, right, time to put some music on. And then you choose what music you want to listen to. Whereas these companies are going, oh, well, we want to get money out of these people. So instead of them having the radio, let's just force whatever rubbish that's on their phone down their throat. The second they turn the engine on, that'll do it. Good job, guys. Thanks, mate. Jeez. Waffles779 Foxy, in response to your reading out in podcast 5, no, my compliments on your video are not, no, my compliments on your audio are not sarcastic. You do a splendid job making it all sound very pleasant in the ears. Your audio sounds as good as my OLED looks. That's impressive, mate. Thanks, Waffles. I appreciate that. I genuinely do appreciate that. Can you believe that, Jessie? A radio producer telling me that my audio sounds good. That's fantastic.
I mean, you spend a lot of time making sure that your audio is so clean. You spend a lot more time on that kind of thing than most people I know. So no, I am not shocked, and I absolutely can believe it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I do try my best, but I don't ever feel like I get it right. So I guess that's a good thing. If I still feel like it's not good enough, that means I'm still trying to improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Right, last one from the feedback. Mr. Balrog. Jessie, go for it.
Before I forget, I finally finished listening to the podcast, and as a counter feedback detailing on the problem of dedicating time to listen to the podcast, I chopped up listening to the podcast over 7 or 8 car trips, some very short, some longer. And I didn't find it difficult to follow along because there wasn't that much that followed from start to finish to keep track of this time. And it didn't fall out of memory between trips either. So I found it easy to follow along despite larger gaps of time in between listening to it, especially when it comes to the feedback question section, because it's easy to stop the podcast when you're finished with one of the questions and there are no cliffhangers for the next time when I resume. Wow. Okay. Punctuation helps. Just gonna throw that out there real quick.
Yeah, it's not always just me and Slack getting it wrong, you know. Sometimes it's very difficult to read the emails. Yeah. Jeez.
But that's a lot of info. But I think that he's right. As someone who listens to the podcast, I have found some of the episodes are a lot easier to listen to in sections. But I don't find it difficult to either break it up or listen in one go. So yeah, I agree with what they're saying.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Because like you wouldn't do that with a TV show. You wouldn't sit and watch a TV show and then sort of turn it off and then a couple of days later resume from where you were and remember where you were up to. Because generally speaking, things like that are so fast-paced. There's so much information all going on. You need to be present for the whole time for it to all go in. Whereas a podcast, like me and you were saying before we started, it's just basically, you know, a couple of hours worth of waffle that people seem to find entertaining. I find exactly the same thing. The podcast I listen into regularly, I've talked about it loads of times. It's not family-friendly, but it's very enjoyable, called The Computer Game Show. They normally record theirs for, sometimes it's 3 hours, sometimes it's 2.5 hours. Ooh. And I listen to it while I walk the dog, and then I just turn it off when I get in, and I carry on the next time I go out. And you don't need to remember what's gone on previously. And most of the time you do anyway, because it's just whatever content they're talking about is interesting. So I don't even like make sure I'm at the end of a particular question or anything. I just turn it off when I get in, and I turn it on the next time I go out, and it's fine. I don't ever think, I wish I need to go back and listen to what they were talking about again. Sometimes they'll be like midway through talking about a game they've been playing and I can't remember what game it is. And I'm thinking, oh, this sounds really good. I wish I knew what this game was. But other than that, yeah, most of the time it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, right. That is the end of feedback for this week, which takes us into the news. And it was a relatively light news week this week. Although if me and Slack had have recorded at our normal time, we would have we would have missed a big piece of news that actually only just dropped a couple of hours ago from what I have seen anyway. So first of all, we got the Twitterverse. We got a tweet from Oleg Kozitsyn, is a developer, saying... or they're a developer, I'm not sure. It seems like we are quite done with sneak peeks for now. Be sure to check one of the upcoming betas of Minecraft for the slightly elusive, not on every device, button under the game tag of the Create New World screen to try the new version of the screen. Meanwhile, stay tuned. And then Cornerhard retweeted that saying some new Bedrock UI coming soon to a beta near you. So this is basically Bedrock Edition have been slowly but surely overhauling the UI. They started with the advancement screen. I've seen mock-ups for the in-game screen, the game settings screens. They're doing the whole lot by the looks of things. I don't know if you've seen any of it, Jessie.
I haven't.
Have you seen the advancement screen, the new one?
No, I didn't know that there was one.
Yeah. Oh, not advancements. What are they called? Achievements.
Achievements, yeah.
Yeah. To me, they look like I had a game on my phone years ago that was a little aeroplane game. It was one of them free ones from an app store, and you had to try and land on the runway, and there would be obstacles in the way. And it was a really basic sort of, I don't know, retro style UI. It wasn't particularly interesting. It was quite flat, but the buttons looked slightly more shiny and interesting than they do on Bedrock currently. And that seems to be the aesthetic they're going for, which I don't know if I like. I was speaking to Slack about this earlier before he told me how ill he was, and he mentioned that apparently a while ago, and I can't really remember this, but a while ago, Bedrock said they were going to change the UI, and they put out some showcases of what they were going for, and it was awful, and everybody rejected it, just said absolutely not, and they backtracked on it. They have changed it now since then. But for me, it just seems to be more focused on symbols rather than words. So like I don't know if I like that.
No.
Like, the new, the what's it called? Dressing room. Yeah. Have you, sometimes my screen will change depending on, they basically push out updates to certain people. It's not on every device, and they're just sort of A/B testing whether people like it or get on with it or not. And I got it sent to me a while ago where all of the side panel where you're choosing which skin you want or what type body part you want just became these tiny little boxes that were icons that you couldn't see. They were so pixelated you couldn't see, and it made no sense at all. And then it went away again. So I don't know if it was just bad feedback that they got from it or what. But the stuff I have seen, it doesn't, I don't like it. I don't know if this is just one of these, I don't want change, I'm old and I want it the same way as it always has been. But it just, some of the stuff, I like the look of the new buttons, but these little icon things just don't make any sense to me. I wish they'd fiddle with things that actually needed fixing rather than shoving new stuff under our noses we don't need. They're clearly not struggling for sales at the moment, so why they need to upgrade the UI is beyond me. What do you think?
I agree. I think change for the sake of change has never been something I've liked very much. I don't feel the need to have everything in Minecraft look super smooth. And it feels like that's where they're going with things. It used to feel a lot more blocky and more pixelated, and I liked how simple it was. But, as time has gone on, they've changed, certain icons, certain things, and that's been fine. Not too much. But it very much feels like they're trying, for lack of a better word, they're trying to round it out. Like it feels less authentic or less
less Minecraft?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me or if, again, it's like you said, where it's just, I don't like things to change. But it feels like they're going so far away from what made Minecraft special. Yeah. And I know like a little advancement screen or whatever isn't going to change an entire game. But I like things simple. I like that Minecraft is simple, and it feels like they're trying very hard to keep up with the new flashy games. And I'm like, not as interested.
No, I agree with you on that one. The other thing that concerns me slightly about this is at the moment, the UI is completely editable with resource packs, which is absolutely fantastic because you can do whatever you want with it. You can make Minecraft a really custom experience. You can put packs out that make it custom for other people as well that maybe like your stuff. And what's better than that is you can actually, change how things look in game. So somebody, I think I used to use it, Slack still uses it possibly, or at least he used to, made a complete overhaul for the UI on Bedrock Edition that made it look and feel like Java Edition. It even worked the same way when you would hold tab when you were in game and it'd show you the people that were in game with you and their pings and stuff like that. And it was great.
That's amazing.
It was absolutely fantastic. It baffles my mind. I tried to do UI stuff before, but it's just on, it's a different, like, I don't understand how people do it. Exactly.
Yeah.
But they're not just changing the UI, they're changing how it's developed as well, which I do believe, or might be wrong on this, and I really hope I'm wrong on this, but I believe that the new stuff won't be editable by resource packs, which means that it's yet another thing, another customization they're taking away from us. So they're taking away shaders. We're going to talk about the big news that just dropped a couple of hours ago, which is another thing that they were giving us that they're taking away that allowed for customization, and now they're taking this. And it just think, why are they trying to lock it down so much? It's like they see people having fun with the game and they go, I don't want to be doing that. No, we'll take that away. Why? I don't understand.
It's one of those things where I hate to be on this bandwagon, but as time goes on, I feel like I am. I dislike that it feels like Bedrock Edition, they're keeping everything behind paywalls. It's like, okay, well, if you're a developer or if you want to make packs for the marketplace or whatever, then we'll give you these things that you can use to make shaders or make whatever, right? Like they're giving people who are making them money options, but we don't have the opportunity to just edit things the way we want ourselves. And I don't like it. I'm not somebody... It feels like I'm not somebody who generally is like Java versus Bedrock, but you have so many things you can do with Java for free. Like I can make a pack, I can do whatever I want, and I can't do that for Bedrock, and it bothers me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but that goes even deeper. There's more layers of that. So being a marketplace partner, there's certain things I can and can't talk about, but basically they do give us tools in order to make it easier to make add-ons, behavior packs, maps and things like that. But then, we still can't use anything that's in experimental features, but the really good Minecraft partners, the ones that are allowed to put out free maps and they do collaborations with Mojang and they're the ones that do all the Disney stuff and the mashup packs and stuff like that, they can. But then the developers say, well, no one can use the experimental stuff because it's not ready for public release. But these other ones are using those in public packs that are going out. So it's I think that there's this hierarchy that's the more money you make us, the more you get. I mean, that's fair enough to a certain extent, but it would be nice if they just kept it really open. It is so closed in the Bedrock Edition version of the game, and it is a shame because it's such that, and I think we notice it more because Minecraft Java Edition does exist, and the Java developers are just so open. They're like, we want you to do mods. Yeah, we want you to do this. Here's the code. Here's how it works. We're not hiding anything from you. And Bedrock had like, no, you've looked at the code. Well, that's illegal. You're not allowed to do that. What do you think about? It's just so polar opposite from each other. I really do think if they were more open, they'd get even more love. And I think they would be less anger towards the Bedrock Edition developers. There's so much anger towards them, and most of it's unjustified, but it comes from feeling like you're always being pushed away or ignored or told no. Whereas Java Edition developers are genuinely well loved because they're always saying yes. So it's one of those things. Right, next news. This isn't really news, actually. I've just put some notes in saying there's no new beta this week. And I put, yet? Is it going to come out tomorrow? Because sometimes they come out on Wednesdays. And I thought maybe they're waiting for something big to happen. Maybe there's going to be the Warden or the Alley in it or something like that. Maybe that's why they skipped a week. It could just be that development's been slow, or they've been working on other things, or they just, haven't had time to get rid of enough bugs to make it workable this week. I don't know. But it would be nice to see the Warden. What do you think, Jessie?
I don't think we're going to see the warden anytime soon. I would love to. I'm really excited anytime that they release just like the littlest sneak peek. I'm super excited, but I don't think that's coming anytime soon. The LA, however, I feel like that could be something that they like sneak in, just like throw it around the corner. That could come soon, I feel like.
Really, I'm surprised at that. I mean, from my point of view, they've been already working on the warden for getting on for 2 years. The LA was only voted for like a couple of months ago. So I would expect to see the warden before the LA. So I don't know. It's a bit weird. Are you looking forward to either of those coming to the game?
The warden, yes. The LA, I could care less.
No, I agree.
I didn't really... I wasn't feeling any of the new mob votes this season, or this year.
Copper Golem.
No. I mean, the best thing about the Copper Golem for me was that I would be able to use it as a statue for builds.
Exactly.
And that's just sad. Like, if the biggest, selling point for me is, I could just put it somewhere to look cool. I don't care. We don't need more of that in the game. But the warden, however, I think I'm less excited for the warden itself and more the area in which the warden is. And I think that's why I think it's not coming anytime soon, is I don't think we're going to get sneak peeks of the warden or the warden in game until that area is done. And I feel like there's something we don't know about that area yet. Like,
I agree.
That they're keeping secret. And so we're not going to get it until like the very end. That's just my gut feeling, total speculation. I could be totally wrong. But I feel like the warden is going to be held back until it's like time to go.
Yeah, that's how it definitely feels like that. It really does. And I really hope they do. And I hope they drop it all like at once and go, hey, you've got the whole lot here. What do you think? And it's just absolute wow material, because it needs to be at this point, to be honest with you. I am looking forward to
They've held it for so long.
Yeah, just tell me about it. I am looking forward to the warden itself as well as the deep dark. I'm really looking forward to that. I want that feeling of something in game to just make you a little bit nervous from time to time. And you don't get that at the moment once you've got everything that you need. So I am looking forward to that. I couldn't care less about the LA. And going back to what you said about copper golems, like wanting something for decoration, if you consider like the reason people like mini blocks and mob heads and even, my avatars add on stuff like that, it's to have detail and things that look nice in your base. So for me, a little copper golem is the detail in that thing is not unlike, it was unlike anything we've seen, and it would go well in so many little things. I just think, it's the closest thing we've got from Mojang to furniture. So I'm up for it.
I mean, that's fair. You're right. That is a huge selling point for mini blocks and stuff, is all of the fine detailing you can do. I think I'm just bitter. I'm just bitter about all the mob votes, like pretty much ever. So I'm just like, no, don't like any of them. Go away.
And I don't know. My gut tells me that the LA is just going to be just as much of a disappointment and as flop as everything else. I know everybody's already like super excited. It's going to go and fetch you diamonds. It's going to bring you back this, that, and the other.
No, it's not.
I don't think so. I think they're going to despawn. I think they're going to go missing. I think it's going to. I'm not feeling it. Maybe it'll be amazing, but I'm not feeling it. I really hope that the developers put loads of time and effort into it, but I don't think they will. I think it'll be as little as is required to make it sort of semi-work, and that'll do.
Agreed.
Right, moving on from that. Henrick, one of the developers for Minecraft Java Edition, has, basically there has been a bit of an interview with the Minecraft developers. It's actually on the Minecraft.net website. It's an article called Caves and Cliffs Update Part 2 Developer Q&A. And in that, he dropped some interesting information. Speaking of being a marketplace partner and certain things I'm not allowed to talk about, he actually talked about a couple of them. And that was that there are tools that they developed in-house at Mojang to help them with building the new biome systems and the new world generation systems for 1.18. And he basically goes on to mention that they're not polished enough to be released to the public. And then in brackets it says, Not yet, at least, which makes me think, are they going to be putting these tools out to the public for them to be able to create or at least analyze more stuff? There was stuff about, debugging information and things like that, a bit like the F3 screen type things.
Ooh.
And it would be amazing if that came to Java Edition.
Mm-hmm.
Again, complete polar opposite of what Bedrock Edition would do. Bedrock Edition would be like, no, that's too much information for people at that level. We're not going to give them any of that. Let's keep things simple, which I understand because, again, their player base is generally at the younger end and not too particularly fussed about debugging the game. They just want to go on and put lava all over the friends. I think it'd be interesting for that to come out, but I don't know if this is just one of those things where they're just, I don't know, saying it to be on the right side of the public. I don't know. What do you think, Jessie?
I feel like because it's not specifically Bedrock, they're probably genuine. I feel like if they're saying it's not happening yet, that see here's the thing, is Minecraft or Mojang, they're infamous for just speaking before they think things through. So like they'll tell us stuff, right? They're just like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen, and then 5 years later we're like, oh yeah, that totally happened.
when
Yeah, that was a thing that you totally told us was gonna come through and never did. And I feel like it's really hard to be cynical, but at the same time it's like, well, we can hope, right? We can hope that they'll be more transparent or that we'll get these things. So I think that's where I stand, is cynically hoping.
Yeah, me too. I think you always have to, otherwise you're just going to be permanently disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And just to give a little bit more info on what that was, because I probably waffled my way through it and didn't make it particularly obvious, I'll read out the quote from Henrick. It's quite a long one, so prepare for many mistakes. It says, yeah, we've been continuously building and improving various internal development tools. For example, the tool that shows a map of the world with various overlays such as terrain offset, multi-noise values, biomes, etc., and filters to highlight things like specific noise ranges. We kept improving and iterating on these tools during development. We also did a bunch of debug overlays to view things in game, such as multi-noise values, density values, or just a side profile view of the world. And a way to juggle things on and off, carvers, noise caves, aquifers, etc., and ways to reload chunks dynamically. Tool development is a pretty core part of our development. We always need ways to be quickly able to see things and find things in the world. I wish we could release more of those tools publicly, but releasing something also means taking responsibility for it, and many of the tools that we've made have been very specific to our development needs and not really in a good enough shape to publish. Not yet, at least. I'm happy to see people in our community bring in awesome tools that are somewhat similar to the ones we built internally, but more adapted for general use. Our community is awesome. So yeah, like a mini-map overlay in game, or to be able to look at terrain sideways on. Do you remember the snapshots they shared with us? Like the ore generation ones? I didn't realize. I just assumed they'd like pruned a load of chunks and stood back, but no, they got a tool that just shows them that from side on. So that's amazing. They would be really cool tools to have, certainly from map makers' points of views, or just from content developers' points of views. They would be amazing. So you never know. Maybe. Right, there's some more news. Ulraf, one of the developers, wrote on Discord this week, I don't know when it was, saying that the combat update snapshot work is going to be taken over by him. He's also said that he's had talks with Jeb, and thinks there is more that they can, my goodness me, Jessie, he thinks there's more that they can do with the combat stuff, basically, and he's excited to work on it together with the community to make it the best it can be. Basically, if you're not aware, a long time ago, Jeb, who was second down from Notch and then became the top dog at Mojang, was working on a combat update for the game in separate snapshots. They weren't part of the normal snapshots or betas, and he was working on ways to improve that they said would come to both versions eventually. And then that went deathly silent. No one heard anything about it for ages and ages again. And now it's been picked up by Ulraf. So I can only assume, I've had, apart from at Minecraft Live or whatever it's called these days, I don't really see much of Jeb. So I'm wondering if he's sort of just got more of like a what's one of them people that doesn't actually work there but just gives advice roles. consultant.
There you go.
Yeah, I wonder if he's because I think Lady Agnes is now is she not in charge of the whole thing, or she's not got the top position now? I can't remember, but I get the feeling
I don't
that
actually
Jeb's
know.
less involved with it now. I've no idea. The information's probably even out there to find out. I don't know. I haven't checked, but it sounds very much like that had dropped off his workload, and it's nice to see someone else has picked it up. Did you see anything about this, Jess?
So the combat update is something that I feel like has been talked about forever. I mean, how long ago was that announced that they were even working on that? I did see somebody else had posted a screenshot of him talking about it, and I saw that. So I feel like, what does that even mean? Like, what is this combat update? Like, what is it specifically that they're working on, and why is it taking so long? I've always been curious. I don't know enough about it.
It's been so long I can barely remember anything
Right?
about it, to be honest with you. But I think the idea was that obviously Bedrock Edition still allows you to spam click stuff. Java Edition has the cooldown timer on the sword, which was just massively hated by most people when they first added it in. I think a lot of people have got used to it now and it's just become second nature. But they decided that they wanted a system that just made for better combat, that was fairer in PvP, that worked well with mobs, that made the game feel more interested and more exciting to do PvP and to play against mobs as well. They were doing interesting things with shields. They were doing interesting things with weapon cooldowns and timings and stuff like that. But I think it's one of these things that's always going to be so divisive to the community that I would imagine when Jeb was working on it, because he was posting these things out and getting feedback, he probably just got overwhelmed with the amount of
negative
cross feedback he got from both sides. They just thought, oh, forget it, I can't be bothered. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I can imagine feeling like that if you were getting lots of different feedback from all angles. But yeah, I think we're still like hoping and waiting for these things to come to Bedrock at some point, because we're still just doing the dark ages of Mojang spam clicking, aren't we?
Yeah,
which is
definitely
fine, because I prefer that to having to wait for my diamond sword to finish cooling down so I can hit something with it again. But we've got no sweeping edge or anything like that, so it does feel very dated.
It does. I'm interested. I hope that them working on it again, leads somewhere.
Yeah, me too. I really do. And again, maybe this is going to be one of those things that the technical difficulties of dealing with touchscreen is what's held it back or made it difficult. I don't know, but it would be nice to think that these things are coming at some point in the future, at least. And to hear that they are, being picked up again doesn't mean that it's going to happen anytime soon, but it is at least mean it's on the cards.
Yeah, it's on their radar.
Yeah. Okay, last piece of news is the new piece that, I mean, it's not that big of a big deal to many people, really. It is to me. It's a big deal to me because I work with add-ons, and I was looking forward to this feature coming out. I was looking forward to a whole new thing that I was going to learn, but I don't have to learn it anymore because it's going away again. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, as part of add-ons, there has been an experimental feature that's been out for quite a long time now. And it was called the scripting API, and it basically allowed you to write JavaScript code, which is what Java Edition is developed in, to make add-ons do things that you could never even dream of doing with just the normal behavior pack stuff. It actually allowed you to technically mod the game, because you could script things with actual programming language code and make stuff do things that you could never do in a million years with what you've currently got with add-ons. So it was really exciting. It's something I looked at quite a long time ago because it's been in experimental since 2018, and it confused me a lot, and there wasn't much information on it back then. There was hardly any documentation on it. I didn't really know how it worked or what to do with it, so I ignored it, thinking, when this comes out of experimental, there'll be more documentation, it'll be more interesting, I'll be able to look at other examples and see YouTube videos on it, and I'll be able to get to grips with it. And then today came the news, sadly, that they are binning it off. They're getting rid of it. They're dropping it. And it will be removed from the betas of Minecraft by March 2022, which is sad news.
Did they give you any indication of why? Or did they go into it, or they just were randomly like, oh, yeah, that thing you have? Yeah, it's gone.
I will read the article. It's another one from Minecraft.net website. It's published on their website, and it says, removing the additional modding capabilities of the script API experimental feature. In December 2018, we introduced a new experimental scripting API and capability for adding JavaScript to Minecraft worlds to implement gameplay and other experiences. This beta capability was available on Windows versions of Minecraft Bedrock Edition via the additional Mojang capabilities experiment. In early 2022, we're looking to wind down the additional modding capabilities experiment and associated script API capability and remove it from future versions of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Over the coming weeks in the beta versions, we'll start to remove this functionality, and we plan for it to no longer be available in Minecraft Bedrock Edition in the March timeframe. Note that the separate script API capabilities, including with game test framework, are not impacted by this announcement, and we expect to continue adding more APIs to the game test framework experiment. So no, they don't get.
Wow.
They've just said that any words that have it, they'll still work, but the scripts won't work anymore. But no, they haven't said why. I can only assume it was probably too cumbersome or too difficult for people to work with, or maybe I don't know, Jessie.
Well, that's kind of annoying, isn't it? just like that. Okay,
it is. It is, because I thought that soon we would be seeing Java Edition level mods and stuff coming to Bedrock. Because of that, I really did think it was going to push Bedrock to new horizons and just really open it up to the people that make Java Edition mods to get stuck in. I can understand why they don't want to make add-ons and maps and things like that, because it's not much fun. You're not really coding anything new. You're just using what already exists and tweaking it and changing it. And you can be very creative with that. You can make amazing things with it. But to actually have the flexibility of an open book and code what you want, I think it would be amazing. But yeah, again, this is just another, another example we've already discovered through two of today already of Mojang locking things down for Minecraft Bedrock Editions and keeping it nice and tight and tidy. So, sad news.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It is. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, Jessie.
No.
Any thoughts? No.
Besides just
no.
Again, it leads back to, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad that they are hindering the progress or anything new from Bedrock Edition. You know how amazing it would be if we had mods? I mean, half the time I am playing Java anymore. I'm playing a modded Minecraft game. And if I could do that on Bedrock, that would be so cool. And it would be something that I could do with Ethan, and he doesn't have to have a computer. It would open so much. And I don't understand why they are being so greedy. It's just what it comes down to. It just feels very much like Bedrock is something that they are using to just bleed people. Yeah, that's all I can really say. It just makes me a little bit sad.
On one hand, I think it's, again, this is one of those things, because we see Java Edition, we've got something to compare it to. If you took Java Edition out of the equation and you saw Minecraft, and then all of a sudden Minecraft had the ability for you to have unique new experiences at a cost, then you probably think, okay, this is just, what's the popular term for it? In-game transactions. And I don't have to take part in that, but, it's cool that exists if I want to, because my kids really like this. Like, at the minute, Oliver's really into, have you heard of log.zip?
Yep.
Yeah, I hadn't, and now I know everything about them. Me and Oliver are playing 100 days in Minecraft log.zip map from the marketplace that he bought with his Christmas money, and it's really good fun.
Aww.
And it's just one of those things that, like, for people his age or for the younger people, having that extra stuff means they don't have to just go into a blank world and a blank canvas and worry, what am I supposed to do with this game? They can enjoy it in a lot of different ways. So I think from that point of view, it's a nice thing to have, which is, I used to hate the marketplace. I was absolutely in the mind frame of, this is just, ripping people off and there's no need for it. It's disgusting. Why does it exist? But that was because everything on Java Edition is free. But then, though, the people that make those mod packs not doing it as their full-time job. And yeah, they're doing a fantastic job with it, but sometimes mod packs can be 10 or 20, well, not 20, but like 5 to 10 years old, like the early ones that are still going and still riddled with bugs and problems, and the trees are the wrong color or something won't work or it'll take ages to load. And it's not their fault, but they're just not optimized. Whereas the marketplace stuff is, generally speaking, it's not all perfect, but generally speaking, it's moderated. It has to conform to certain things to get on there. And it's so there is good and bad. I mean, I still absolutely despise the emotes on Bedrock Edition because for me, as much as there are
microtransactions, it's gross.
But it's the grossness behind that is, for me, is how expensive they are and the fact that you can't even see them in game. Again, most people on Minecraft Bedrock Edition playing with the touchscreen, they don't have an F5 button. They have to go into the game settings to see themselves. So to then sell them emotes, some of them are like £5 to £6 or like $8 for one emote that they can't even see. It's horrendous. Why that got past, quality control is beyond. I don't know how they can sleep at night with those. Whereas the skin pack stuff or whatever it's called, the persona items, I get those. I get dressing up your character and get having an outfit that's unique and interesting and it suits your personality. I understand that. But having a badly animated person doing something that's cost you more than like a bunch of maps from the marketplace is just bizarre. I don't understand it. And I absolutely hate that about the marketplace. So there is good and bad. But again, I was playing Minecraft today and I got 2 pop-ups while I was playing. When I exited the world, so it wasn't while I was in game, but when I went back to the menu, pop-up going, hey, the marketplace has got this at the minute. I don't want to pop up. No, thank you. You've got a big marketplace button right at the front. I don't want to pop up. Thank you. No, stop. Where's my I want to turn off notifications option, please? So it is getting worse, and it does make me wonder where it's going to go to and how bad it's going to get. It is such a shame because I'm a marketplace partner. I don't want to be hating on it, but there's a lot needs to change in order to make it good.
I agree.
Oh man. Anyway, that's enough of the news. So we've got a very quick bug date today. We've both got a couple of things we want to talk about. We're going to start with Jessiie, who has got a problem with lighting, apparently.
Yes, ever since we found the lighting bug where you can remove a torch, but it's still lit up, it has been the most infuriating thing. Right now, as I mentioned earlier, am working on my base. And my base in general, I want to be very dark and very gothic-y. I need it to have really dim lighting. The whole base pretty much revolves around lighting. And right now, every time I remove a torch, everything is lit up. So I don't actually know if things are dark or not. I've been having freaking creepers spawning and blowing me up. And I'm just like... So yeah, that to me right now is my biggest headache of a bug is why lighting?
I know it does make life difficult, doesn't it? When you can't trust that the light it's showing you in game is actually was there. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. How do you get around that? I guess just keep relogging regularly.
Yep. Yeah. During time lapses, during everything, you'll just see me log in, log out, log in, log out. It has been annoying. People are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yep, lighting bug, it's fine."
Yeah, and then when you get the thing because we're on a server and it's like, "Oh no, sorry, invalid IP address." No, it's not. I was there a second ago. Okay, fine, but you're not allowed in. Why? There's too many people playing in this game. But there's what? Did you? What? Just unable to connect. Why? I was literally just in it. No, you're going to have to turn Minecraft off and on again. You turn Minecraft on again and Xbox is like, I've signed you out. Do you want to sign back in? Yes. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, busy. All right, okay, I've signed you back in. Do you want your character? No. Sorry. Why? Why is it so hard? Joking.
No, that's exactly how it is.
It's like all of the simple things just don't work. It drives me nuts. It really does. Why can't I see all of my characters in their skins in game still? Why does one of them have his elbow where his head should be? I don't understand. There's some things that should be fundamentally working because the game's that old, and they don't. Like being able to join a game, being able to join your friend's game. I mean, I can sit in the same house as somebody, be their friend, and on the LAN network, and it still says, no, sorry, mate, can't join this game. Why? Don't know.
In my house, we have that problem all the time. We have like the hubs, and me and Ethan will try to play a game together, and I won't be able to join them because it's like, oh no, that Xbox that's literally right next to your computer. Nope, it's not there. No, it is. I promise. No, it's not. It's not there. All right, cool. Thanks. Bye.
It drives me nuts. It really does. I spoke, I think it was either the last week or the week before, I was talking about not wanting to play Minecraft with Oliver because I play it I do it so often anyway. But I remembered my main reason for not wanting to play Minecraft with Oliver the other day when he wanted me to play Lord Dogs This Work with him. And that is because it is impossible to get in a game with each other. This Better Together update, the version that makes it so easy, that relies on Xbox Live, I cannot play with my own son in the same house. Okay? So I have my PC. I have 2 laptops. I have an iPad. I have it on my phone. I have it on an Xbox. His Xbox is here at the minute that he got for Christmas because he hadn't taken it back to his mum's house yet, and he's got an iPad. I went through 4 different devices, logging in on 2 different accounts before I finally was able to get into the same world as him. And then, after about 5 minutes, it kicked me out. And I just, I can't. It's so hard, Oliver. I'm so sorry. Eventually, I did get in and we spent like half an hour together. But it shouldn't be, an hour of trying to get into each other's world and 5 minutes of play. It should be the other way around.
Exactly.
It's so frustrating.
I absolutely agree.
So lighting bugs, My bug this week, Jessie, I spoke about detector rails last week, detecting the minecart before it was there and pinging the minecart back again, which is annoying. And this week I've been working on my fun furnace array, which revolves on chest minecarts going round and delivering items to certain things, which on the majority have worked pretty darn well. They do visually appear to be in space half the time or in someone else's base as they're whizzing along the track because there's some really weird graphical issues with them. But generally speaking, they drop off all of the items in the right places. However, my fuel minecart has to run over the furnace output line on its way back to its little area where it fills up. And there are 2 hoppers that it runs over. And when it does that, it drops scaffolding, which is my fuel of choice because it's the only thing scaffolding's good for. It drops 2 pieces of scaffolding into these hoppers as it goes over, and they end up in my output chest. And I thought, okay, very easy way to deal with this. If I put detector rails on top of those hoppers, then that will lock the hoppers. And that works. If you get a hopper, put a detector rail on top of it, stick a minecart on top, the detector rail is active, no items can go into the hopper. I proved it in video. Right? So, 4 detector rails in a line later, and somehow 1 piece of scaffolding is still getting into the system. It took me a good hour or so to finally, I had hoppers going round in circles. It looks like Mr. Tickle's spaghetti arms, just to find a way to get these detector rails to not... The problem was, I don't even know if it is the detector rail, but the item was getting in the minecart, or into the hopper, before the minecart even got to the detector rail. It's so frustrating. It's so annoying when things like that happen because you've got this really nice, tidy design that should work perfectly, and you just have to destroy it to make it work.
Oh, yeah. Nope. That's gotta love. I feel like minecarts in general, like hopper minecarts, all minecarts, I feel like have just been an issue for so long. It's like rails, anything, just I feel like they're always buggy. I don't think I've ever had a time where I'm like, yeah, that was easy. Yeah.
I think it's because they don't get that much use. I think generally speaking, unless you've got like a furnace, no one really uses rails, do they? And I think it's just a lack of awareness probably from the developers that there's issues, or just a lack of priority because they know they're not really that well used. I believe, I'm not sure about this, but I believe Bedrock Edition still sends basically back data back to Microsoft of everything you're doing in game, which is when they, when they do those charity events. Can we mine a million cobblestone for charity? They know when they've hit that target because they're getting those statistics sent back from Minecraft, which is why it wants you to sign in. So they're probably able to see how many people are crafting and placing rails, and it's probably a tiny, tiny number compared to everything else everyone's doing. So that's probably one of the systems that they use, or at least it should be.
I'm sure.
To prioritize what bug fixes to do. So yeah, minecarts. I mean, it's not just Bedrock though, is it? Minecarts on Java Edition were broken for years and years and years as well. Yeah. So it is a shame, and it would be nice if they fixed it. But I tell you what, some things like that where I'm running around shouting and screaming at the top of minecarts is, I find that quite enjoyable. But particularly, it makes videos more entertaining at least.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
It's a headache, and it makes your 5-minute job into 5 hours. But it's good quality content.
It definitely is. It's amusing, and people like to see the relatable frustration. I think that's like the key there, is you're just like, this is awful, I don't like this. And it is such a problem that everyone who has used it has encountered, that people like to see it. They're like, yeah, he's struggling with the same thing I am.
Yeah. And then you get the people in the comments about, you should just do this instead.
Yeah. That will never go away.
Why didn't I think of that? Now I'm even more angry. Right, Jessie, that's enough of the Bugdate. We're going to go on to a whole new section because you're a special guest here today, and we're going to talk all about Jessiie B. Are you excited?
Nervous?
Nervous. Don't be nervous. Everything's fine. Right, we want to get to know Jessiie B and more. What makes Jessiie B tick, and what better way to do that than to ask lots of questions? So I've prepared a handful of questions. So let's see how we get on. Jessie, first question. Who are you?
I am Jessiie B. I am a mom, and I am sometimes a content creator.
Does the B stand for barbecue?
It doesn't. I mean, I know that's a really good guess, but no.
Yeah, I thought there was some hidden lore that we hadn't uncovered there, but that's a shame. That's a shame. Okay, fair enough. What is something people seem to misunderstand about you? I stole that question from a what questions to ask people on a podcast website.
Oh, see? Yeah. Something that people misunderstand about me is probably, people think I'm a lot more confident than I am. And that's something that I get told all the time, is people are like, oh man, I admire how confident you are, how whatever. I'm like, what makes you think that? Like in Minecraft, I mess up all the time. And I think people, I don't know if it's my editing style or what, but people just assume that building or whatever just comes super easy, and I'm like super confident in my skills, and I'm not. So that I think is probably the biggest one.
Well, that's easy to understand why, though. I mean, just speaking to you today, you come across confident. You speak confidently. You're loud and proud, if you want to put it that way. I don't know. It's just you're not high. It doesn't feel like you're holding back or nervous or tripping over your own words. Or when people have quiet voice when they're not confident, really, when they're a little bit nervous about the situation, and you don't. You're just Jessiie B. So I think you just exude this sort of, Jessiie B can do everything. Jessiie B's really got it all nailed down. She's a mum, she deals with the kids, and she puts Minecraft stuff out, and she does this. And I know you have a life that's outside of the screen and off of all of this, and it is hard and life's difficult, but you just come across as like you got a handle on it. So I think that's probably why.
Well, that's one of those things that's really nice to hear, because as, a human, there are many times where it just feels like, man, I am a piece of duct tape away from like literally losing a limb.
I can relate to that. Yeah. 100%. Okay, right. The most important question, I think. What got you into Minecraft? What's your story?
Yeah. Okay. So this is actually a really good story about not judging things, right? I first started playing Minecraft when an ex-boyfriend of mine wanted to play. This was back in 2011. And I was so judgmental. I was like, ugh, what is wrong with you that you want to play this like child's game that's all blocks? Like, what is this? Like, was not into it. I was super judgmental. And then he was like, okay, Miss Judgy, just try it. Just play with me for a little bit. And I was like, fine, whatever. I think I lasted all of 30 minutes before I was like, oh, this is going to be a problem. I was so addicted to how simple it was. Like, it was, especially back then, it was just, there was just the overworld. There was no nether yet. It was.
Wow, really? You've been playing that long? Wow, okay.
Yeah. So it was super, super simple. And I had fun exploring the different biomes. Again, there weren't that many. I think there was dark oak forest.
No,
there wasn't
Nether
much
had
else.
to be there before dark oak, surely.
No, it
really?
wasn't. Yeah.
I'm going to Google this now while you keep talking.
It was when I was playing, there was just nothing. It was just very, very 2D. And the simpleness of it got me. And then I think it had been like a year and I stopped playing because, working at the time at a hospital in the ER, I had no free time. And then I picked it up again. And again, I was just so addicted. So that's pretty much what got me playing, was just how easy it was to not be bad at it. Like, it was just like, oh, it was fun.
So you must be talking about Bedrock Edition, right?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
But
I didn't pick up Bedrock Edition until Better Together. That was the first time I ever played Bedrock.
Well, you must have been doing things wrong then, because I'm just looking here. Dark Oak was added in 1.7.2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Nether was added in as a hell map in 0.3.1, and then it returned in version 1.2.
Then yeah, I maybe maybe neither of us knew it existed, but yeah, or maybe I'm thinking dark oak was something it wasn't, but there was big mushrooms. That's why I just assume it was dark oak. But maybe there was no
maybe
wood.
There was a different biome back then. I've no idea. Yeah.
So it was, because I'm trying to think. Back then, when I first started playing, there was swamps, there was mountains. So I don't
Extreme
even think
hills,
that there
I
were.
find they're called.
Sorry. There wasn't even, I don't remember like spruce forests. I just remember there was being, there were only spruce in the extreme hills. Like there were like the one trees when I first started playing, and there were only a few flower types. It was so, it was so basic. But then when I came back, probably in 2013, they had added a ton, and then I was hooked. Yeah. I remember I was so excited when they added in stained glass. All of a sudden, everything I did was out of stained glass. Then that was like the best thing in the world. It looked awful. Everything I did looked awful, but I had a great time. It was brilliant. Yay, I can make a rainbow. Yep, I relate.
Oh, dear me. Okay, what keeps you playing Minecraft, Jessie?
Well, besides now making content and having a community, I think the thing that keeps me specifically playing Minecraft is I like this sounds so bad. I like the evolution of my playstyle. Like, I really like being able to go back to old worlds and seeing where I first started and seeing the creativity and everything evolve. So I used to play games like Sims. I've always really loved like getting my creativity out in building. And now that there's just so much that I can do in Minecraft, like terraforming, building, I really selfishly just I love seeing how much I've changed and how much I can do. So I keep playing just because I feel like it's a good measure of growth. I guess that would be the way to word it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's not the answer I expected at all. Well, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. I mean, I don't know. Me and you differ on that. I don't like to look back because I think of all the junk and rubbish I've done before. But then having said that, I often like go back to like old seasons in my videos and look at stuff and go, how can I make this better? So I guess that's there. But I don't know. I just assume that I will improve as I play and I do it more rather than that's what I'm aiming to do. So yeah, that's I like that answer. That's great. Good for you. How are you enjoying the updates? Like obviously we've just had Caves and Cliffs Part 2, but do you like Minecraft updates? Do you get into them?
I do. I think I am a creature of habit. I really like things that I know. So I do get a bit anxious when there are just so many updates and so many big changes. I will say I am loving the Caves and Cliffs update. I knew I would be excited for mountains. I really just was like, yes, something pretty. I need big scenery. I need changes. But the blending, I didn't know how much I would enjoy the blending of the biomes. It is amazing. I love just flying around now in the elytra, just seeing, okay, things are naturally prettier than they used to be.
It feels weirdly different, doesn't it? I still now feel like I'm going back to Minecraft soon. It doesn't feel like I'm in Minecraft. It's such a strange thing. I thought we'd be used to it after a couple of weeks, but I'm really not. It's still really jarring.
Oh, yeah.
When you're flying around and you're not seeing hard lines between the biomes and like, I don't know whether I want to say I like it because I love the mountains and I love the caves, but I'm still looking forward to going home. I feel like I'm on holiday and I'm waiting to go home.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. It feels very much kind of out of sorts, but I enjoy this kind of progress in Minecraft. I feel like they've managed to update the game without changing too much. So they didn't rely on, you know how a lot of times when people mod the game, they add lots of crazy things like millions of different blocks. Just they change everything that's like simple about Minecraft. And this feels like, okay, well, obviously we need to update the game because it's been years and the harsh lines are a bit much. I get that. And this feels like a really good compromise to keep Minecrafty, keep it blocky, keep it, what we love about it without adding insane amounts of new features, if that makes sense. And so I like that.
I completely agree with you. I've always thought, and I think I've said it a few times, that Mojang are absolutely amazing at just doing the unexpected and keeping things simple. Like you say, modders, they'll go, here's biomes aplenty, the mod pack, but it's got 4 million new blocks in it as well. Whereas Mojang go, hold my beer, let's make 4 million new biomes, but with all of the original assets, and they still look just as good and just as vibrant and just as exciting. They still feel like whole new places to be, even though they've added nothing. They've just changed how it generates. And they're so good at that. Like, who would have ever imagined a sugar box? We were saying for years, I want a chest that I can pick up with the items in it. And they came out with this crazy, so far out the way idea and it worked perfectly. And it's like, yeah. And they just seem to just nail that time and time again. They do that. And I hope they never lose that, because that's just that's what for me, I think makes Minecraft so successful, is their ability to innovate in the unexpected way, which is even better than what we wanted originally. So, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that. Speaking of, is there anything you would add or change to the game?
I'm going to go with the stereotypical answer that everybody says, I want backpacks.
Okay.
I really want better storage. I wouldn't say I would go as far as to saying like I want smart storage. You know, like we played Sky Factory 4.
Yeah.
And there's all these like crazy things. I'm not interested in that so much, but having a better way of like inventory management, absolutely. That 1000%. I'm on board. Give it to me. I would also this is strictly a terraformer Jessiie coming out. I would love to have like dirt layers.
Oh,
I would love that. Other than that, I'm so simple. I love what we have, and I'm really happy with kind of what Minecraft is giving us, what Mojang is giving us. I'm not too fussed, but give me better inventory management, please.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to what you said about modded there, Sky Factory 4. See, I wouldn't want it in Minecraft vanilla because I think it would ruin the game. But my favorite things from modded are like pipes and automated inventory, like computer systems where you can, when you've got wires, basically. I love that. I love being able to set my farms up all to go to the same place without loads of hopper lines and just having an inventory system that I can like clue into, what's the word? Like just access from anywhere and pull out whatever I want. I love that. That's my favorite thing to do in the whole of Minecraft ever. To have that in vanilla, I think I'd like it, but I also think it's way too un-Minecrafty, and I don't know how much it would ruin the game. But like building that storage system that I've done this week, I enjoyed it, but there's no fun in it because it's still just chests in a wall, and I don't want chests in a wall that I got to label and put the right stuff in the right place myself and find it and keep them tidy. I want to automate that. I just want to chuck everything in a weird shaped thing, and it just, I don't know, I want a bit more pizzazz in my storage system, I guess.
I get it, yeah.
Right, I've just added a question to the question list because I thought of it while you were talking about that, and it's the question you've probably been asked it a million times. I've been asked it a million times. Slack's been asked it a million times. We've all been asked it a million times. But Jessiie, do you think that Mojang should add coloured concrete stairs and slabs to the game?
I know I'm going to ruffle some tail feathers here because everyone apparently has the same idea that it needs to be the same. But no, I do not want colored concrete stairs and slabs. Why? There's too many options. I think part of the fun of Minecraft is blending blocks that should not match, right? It's trying to transition from something like stark that is concrete to something else. Like, I love that. I love seeing the innovation that people have. If you just give me every option under the sun, I don't think you're going to create anything super interesting. It's like the same things are going to be done over and over and over again. And I don't care for it. I've never been a big proponent of giving you every sort of slab in the world. Just, it seems needless.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I've always said the same thing myself. I didn't know with you. I didn't know if I'd get a different, because you're a builder and obviously the more things you've got to play with in your arsenal, the better, I guess. But no, yeah, I'm glad you said that. Good. You're allowed to stay.
Okay, thanks.
What are you looking forward to from the Wild update? Minecraft 1.19.
I'm trying to think of what they announced.
Frogs,
actually, the mangrove trees.
Oh, mangrove trees, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Since we're throwing me out there, I'm a builder. I'm a builder who specifically loves to build trees. So the idea of giving me new foliage always will be top tier for me.
Do you think that we will have new like leaves and logs, or do you think it's just going to be new roots? They were very specific on the new roots and the new mud, but they didn't mention, like, maybe they did mention a new wood type, but I don't remember them
they
mentioning
did.
Did they? Oh, that's okay then.
Yeah, it's so.
Oh, of course they did, because then they went with clay bricks as well, didn't they?
Yep.
And they built that little house out of basically what looked like acacia wood or jungle wood.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, I think hopefully the wood coloring changes, because it looked awful in my opinion.
Yeah. No more pink wood, please.
Yeah, but I think it's probably gonna not be different sap or leaf types. It didn't look like it to me anyway. When I was looking back at the pictures, it looked like the same type of leaf but a different wood. So I think that's probably.
It's kind of crazy because like azalea leaves or azalea trees came out with oak wood but new leaves. And then the mangrove tree is going to come out with different wood but oak leaves, maybe, potentially. So I hope they do have a new leaf type. That would be nice.
I would be really happy if they did. But just from the screenshots, which of course will change over time, it just didn't look like it to me. But I guess that's the same thing for dark oak, right? Like they both have oak leaves.
Yeah. Isn't one labeled dark oak leaves now, or have they fixed that? Because it used to be that they wouldn't stack together because one was oak leaves and one was dark oak leaves. But I'm pretty sure that they're all just oak leaves now, aren't they?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they're just oak leaves. I'm gonna check right this second. Dark oak tree. Let's see. They're dark oak leaves.
Oh, there you go.
They just
to
look
confuse
exactly the same.
Yeah, they're exactly the same, but they're called something else. Of course they are. Well, at least like that's a placeholder, I guess, for resource pack people to add a different type of leaf in, I guess. Why don't they make those cherry blossom leaves? Give us cherry blossom leaves.
I would love a cherry blossom tree. Just if I had an end goal, like what kind of new wood or whatever, I want cherry blossom trees. And I think everybody wants cherry blossom trees. I do not know why they will not give them to us.
No, it's bizarre what they will and won't do, isn't it? But we never know. They might just have they will have a huge list somewhere of all the things that they're considering, but they'll just have to drip feed it to us. If they give us it all at once, what else is there left to give, I guess? And where's the fun?
That's valid.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I think it's the last question I've got written down. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
In Minecraft or in general?
Just in general. Anything. I don't know. I copied that one off the website as well.
Okay. In general, I feel... So to be inspired and like my best self are two different questions for me. So inspired, I find architecture in general, like, so when it relates to Minecraft, I like looking at pictures of architecture in real life. I've always been inspired by buildings and just architecture in general, statues, anything creative, super inspiring to me. When I was doing this base and looking at, like mines and stuff, I was looking at inspiration drawings and architecture from like Rome, stuff like that. And that to me, I've always been really inspired by other people's creativity, basically. But what makes me feel like my best self? I am at the heart of my soul a people pleaser, right? Always have been. And I don't think that that's always necessarily a bad thing. I know there is that connotation when you say, oh, I'm a people pleaser, that people think, oh, well, that's not good. But for me, that just means that I really care about the people around me. I care about my friends. I care about my family, all that sort of thing. So when I am feeling my best self, it's generally when I am having conversations with people that I love or people that I care about. I feel the most like myself when I can just hang out with somebody that I really enjoy. Like when I get to hang out with you or Slack, for example, on TB. Like I'm always really genuinely happy and I feel more like myself. When I'm at home, anytime I get to actually properly hang out with my husband, I am feeling the most me. Like I absolutely love that connection to special people in my life. So I know that sounds very much like, well, what does that have to do with yourself? Well, it's just, I feel really good around people.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. That's fantastic. I don't think you should feel that that's an odd thing to say. I think that's lovely. That's really nice. Yeah, I'm the complete opposite. I am my best self when I'm completely on my own. Yeah. I don't know. Everyone always says to me, "You're so good at like socially. You're really good fun, and it's great. People really like talking to you, and you should do this more often." I'm thinking like, no, I hate it. I just let's go back home. I enjoy it at the time, but I'm so far out of my comfort zone when I'm put in situations where I have to socialize, even with friends and family. It's so weird. I would much rather be at home looking after myself and just doing what I need to do for me. I don't know. Yeah, that's my comfort. That's when I feel like my best self.
It's really funny because I'm that way with strangers. Like I am so socially awkward in big situations, like crowds, around big gatherings of people, even if it's family. If it's more than like 5 people, I want to like crawl in a hole. I'm just like, too many people. It makes me super uncomfortable. So I totally get that, wanting to just like not be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. That is a feeling I understand.
Good. Well, thank you very much for answering all of those questions for me, Jessie.
Of course.
And now we've got questions for us, I guess, from the questions section. Hooray! Again, Yay. If you would like to ask us a question, then you can do by writing an email to theminecraftupdatepod@gmail.com. Put question in your subject line, or you can catch us on Discord or write a comment in the commenty bit below. We have got not that many questions this week, which is good because we've already been going on for like an hour and 3/4 and we don't want this to go on forever. So I guess we'll start at the beginning with JJ, who sent us an email saying, "Hello, JJ here, despite what the email address says. 2 questions. Is it Slack and Foxy or Foxy and Slack?" Oh, interesting. Jessie, what do you think?
I typically say Foxy and Slack, but only because I'm an English major, so my brain it has to go alphabetical.
Yeah,
so
I do
literally the only reason.
I just feel like if you do anything alphabetically, it's fair, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, because I'm an F, I come up higher up. This is got an advantage for me. But I do find that if you go, it doesn't matter what it is, go alphabetically, no one can argue with you because they go, "Oh, why have you put me with them?" Well, it's alphabetical. Sorry, nothing to do about it. So, so yeah, I would say Foxy and Slack as well. But that just sounds like I'm being a little bit full of my own self. No, I agree with you, Jessie. The next question was, is it Mo Yang or Mo? Oh no, Mo Jang or Mo Yang? Jessie, what do you think again?
I say Mo Yang.
Yeah.
I used to say Mojang.
I used to say Mojang too. And Mo Yang / Jang have actually come out and said, we don't care. It's either. Yeah. You can say what you want. It doesn't matter. Obviously, I think most people when Minecraft first came out would call it Mojang because we just associate with a J sound in the UK and America and places like that. But then obviously somebody realized that it was a Swedish company and one of the content creators went, no, this is Mo Yang, not Mojang. We're like, oh, right, okay, better start saying it right then so we don't upset anybody. And then everyone's going, no, it's Mojang, no, it's Mo Yang. So Mojang or Mo Yang or whatever you want to call it just went, oh, we don't care.
Yeah, we don't care.
Just whatever, it's fine. So, yeah, and then it says underneath that from JJ, for full marks, please show all of your working out. Thanks for the pod, JJ. Well, I think we did. I think we covered that. Thank you, Jessie.
Yeah. Agreed. Tyler Babcock says, "Hey, Foxy and Slack. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask, what is the song that y'all use for the intro / outro? Also, assuming it's available, what is the name of it? It's a pretty good song. Love your show. Doing great. P.S. In my last email, I said that I was sad to see you, Foxy, go. What I meant is I was sad to not see any more episodes on Spotify. For personal reasons, I am not allowed on any of the other platforms that you were posting to. Anyways, glad you're back and that you brought a friend."
Well,
there you go.
I'm just slightly concerned that you're not allowed on any of the other things. It sounds very much like that's like a parent thing. Hey, you're not allowed to go on YouTube or something like that, rather than you've been banned from our Discords. But thank you, Tyler. Right, okay. Well, what was this song called? I'm actually just quickly trying to find it on my my system now. I don't have the name in front of me. It's from Storyblocks, I believe. Or it might even be from the YouTube sound library. I'll check that out when I'm editing this podcast, and I'll put the name of it in the description below. But no, if it's on, what's it called? Storyblocks, then it won't be free. If it's on the YouTube audio library, then it is free. So you are welcome to download it if it's from there. Tyler Babcock also wrote another email saying, also want to add, how would you feel about an end update? I feel like the end is just empty and extremely dull. The only thing that you would really go to the end for in most cases would be to defeat the dragon and get Elytra and the egg in the process. What do you all think? I love the podcast. Jessie, I'll let you start with this one.
I would love an end update, and it's purely speculation. I think it's coming. I am 75% sure that the Deep Dark is going to connect to the end, and I think it's going to get an update, and I am super excited for it when we do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I have been banging on for the longest time that the end update is coming. I am a strong believer that it should have been here by now. I am really excited for it to come. I really hope we get a lot more blocks. I really hope we get some good biome diversity. I hope we get more interesting islands. I hope we get more plants and more mobs. I mean, we've only got the Enderman and shulkers and Endermites occasionally, I guess. So it would be nice to have a whole bunch of stuff, like the same sort of size as the Nether update. Let's just go crazy with it. Let's just chuck a whole bunch of stuff in and make it really exciting. But I agree with you. I think that the Skulk stuff, it's got to be. I've been saying that from when that first came out. Hang on a minute. Skulk, Sensor, Shulker, Skulk, Shulk. Yeah, it's got to be connected. And the fact that it's in the Deep Dark, which is where the end portals are, and the fact that the blocks look like they're the same colours as the end portal frame. Who are Mojang trying to hide it from? It's obvious that there's some connection there. So I
agree.
I hope it's not just a cop out and they just add a few. Maybe they are throwing an end update in with this one and it's a secret. Who knows? I think they would go. I think they'd have a bit of a song, a bit dance about it. I reckon 1.20 will be a full on end update. But maybe they're just going to cop out and throw a few of the Skulk things into the end for us to find. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they'll go all out on it. And I don't know, it makes me want this even more. I don't know if you're aware, Jessie, but I've been playing a lot of Minecraft Dungeons lately, and I've been playing a bit of the End DLC on there. And to be honest with you, the End DLC, as much as they've done a whole lot with the End, they've added all sorts of new stuff and new plants, it still feels very endy. I don't want them to go down that route. Whereas all of the other stuff in Dungeons, I think that what they've done is amazing, and I want that all in the game. The End stuff to me, it looked nice and it was pretty, but I didn't know. I want them to come away from the yellow and purple a little bit more. Yeah. It's very yellow and pink and purple in the End, which is fine, but they need more variation in there, I think.
I agree.
Yeah. So fingers crossed we will get an end update at some point soon.
Waffles779 said, question, would you consider having your voice in a Bluetooth speaker or GPS? Could there be Big Chicken, Mr. Onion, Mr. Barbecue variants as well? Would love to hear Mr. Onion's reaction to when I miss a turn. Not sure who you'd go through to make this happen. I know there are purchasable voices out there for GPS like TomTom that let you have Mr. T, Homer Simpson, Batman, etc. And there are ways to make your own as well, but I never managed to figure it out. Also, not sure who would buy it besides me.
Yeah. I think like sound stuff like that seems to have gone out. You know, it's out of fashion there now, isn't it? I remember back in the good old days when TomTom first came out, I had John Cleese on mine, and he would tell me like when When I had to turn around, it said, please turn around when necessary, unless it's impossible for you to turn right now, but when it is, and it just go on about it. And when you got to your destination, it said, you have arrived at your destination. You can get out now, but I'm not going to carry your bags and things like that. And it was great. But
amazing.
After 3 or 4 times, it became, the jokes wore thin a little bit and it wasn't that great anymore. And like, do you remember the game's Worms?
Yeah.
The first one of that, you could add all your own sound files in, and I had South Park ones and I had like Simpsons ones and all sorts, but no one seems to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think they would be fun, but I don't, and I would definitely do it if it obviously was going to get paid to do it, but I don't think it's something I would just do off my own back, because I don't think anyone would ever use it, sadly. What about you, Jessie? Would you have your voice on GPS or Bluetooth speaker? Jessie, the new Alexa?
I've actually had people ask if I would record messages and then like they'll use it. I feel really weird about it. I feel like I don't want my voice to be places that I can't control. Like
really?
I want my voice to be just with me. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, fair enough. Ooh. Oh, well, anyway, that takes us right to the end of today's podcast, sadly. Right, to finish off the socials, I will be streaming as usual. So my next one, as you're listening to this, will be on Monday morning GMT, probably around about 10 a.m. And then I will be streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays over on Twitch at 7 p.m. I will also be releasing videos as normal. Slack, I don't know at the moment because he's not very well, but I would assume he's going to try and continue his daily streams when he's feeling better, which are generally at 4 to 6 EST, and he puts YouTube videos out on Tuesdays and Fridays. Jessie doesn't have a streaming schedule at the moment, probably because she's just moved Evie into a new room and probably doesn't want to jinx it, but she's hopefully going to have a video coming out on Friday. So, yeah. And on that note, I hope Slack gets better soon. Hopefully he'll be back for the next one. And if you want to get in touch, like I've said already, you can email us on theminecraftupdatepod@gmail.com or catch either of us in our Discords or on Twitter. The links will all be in the descriptions below. Thank you very much for joining me today, Jessie.
Of course.
I hope you have an amazing, what day is it, Friday when this comes out? I hope you have an amazing weekend.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you on the podcast again soon. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. See you later, everybody. Goodbye.